what happens over time is we actually start to become immune to the stuff and the clutter around us, and we don't even realize the impact that it's having on our mood, on our mental health, on how we feel when we're in our house, the impact it's having on our family, and we don't see it. And that starts to become a big problem. So I grew up on a farm in Minnesota, just outside of the Twin Cities. It was, I mean, truly the best place to grow up. We didn't have a lot of extra, but we always had enough. My parents worked very hard to make sure all of our needs were met. But one thing that now looking back, that I really appreciate about them is that they never compared us to others. They weren't trying to keep up with the Joneses. We knew that most of our friends had more. They had nicer clothes, nicer vehicles, but my parents never drew attention to that. My dad was always focused on spending time together, doing things together, going on vacations. Well, he called them adventures, but we grew up spending lots of good time together, and often they were focused on other people and helping others and what they could do for them. And so there's so many good lessons that I take from them in my childhood that I want to pass on to our kids. But the one thing that they couldn't teach us is how to deal with all of the stuff that we would have access to. When you can literally have something delivered to your house in 2 days or even 1 day, depending on where you live, where things a lot of times are fairly inexpensive and we just have a little bit more disposable income. I know many of us, it's still not like we have tons of extra to throw around, but we can go to the dollar store, we can stop at the Target dollar spot, and it's just so easy to acquire stuff now. And so really that was something my parents never had to deal with, and something that most of us were never taught growing up. And so I found myself about 6 years ago, like most, we had 4 kids at the time, ages 4 and under. And we were living in a townhouse, I mean, really living the American dream, right? Tom worked full time, I got to stay home, and we had all this stuff that went along with having a family. And so really, I mean, from the outside looking in, we had it all. We had 4 healthy kids, I got to stay home with them, we were making ends meet. But it was amazing how just day after day living in it, managing all the stuff, I started to become resentful. I became resentful towards Tom. I mean, he got to go to work and be around people. I was resentful towards the stuff in our house. And I just remember thinking, why would I pick up all of these toys on the floor when I'm just gonna have to pick them up again tomorrow? Why would I make a point to do the dishes every single day when I'm just gonna have to do them again tomorrow? And I would have this conflict constantly of, no, you're supposed to feel so blessed and fortunate and lucky. I mean, I was, right? Like I should be appreciating this and enjoying it, and I wasn't. And I think what also was confusing during that time was it's when we started to hear that narrative of good moms have sticky floors and messy kitchens, or whatever the signs say. And so the conversation around motherhood was, yeah, it's messy and you shouldn't be expected to stay on top of it all. Motherhood's a full-time job and it just comes with all this stuff, and don't even try to keep on top of it. Like, it's impossible. And so I was like, okay, like this is what it's supposed to look like. But it never felt right, because I'm like, if this is what it's supposed to look like, this mess and stuff and all of this, then why doesn't it feel right? And so I constantly had this inner conflict between feeling like, no, Tom works hard for our family. I know he likes coming home to a clean house, so why can't I give that to him? And whatever, if he wants the house clean, he should do it himself. And I'm not proud of these feelings, but it was just the reality. It was like every day back and forth, watching the clock till he was supposed to be home, saying, oh, which one will it be today? Will I make the effort to get it all done or not? And so here I was, and one day I was sitting at my computer. I put a podcast on in the background while I was working. Gage, our youngest, was a few months old. He was asleep on my lap. And I was listening to The Art is Simple, and Joshua Becker came on. And he told his story, if you're all familiar with him, of he was cleaning out his garage one Saturday, feeling a little bit bad because he was having to spend the full day cleaning his garage while his kids were playing in the backyard. And his neighbor came over and said, did you know you don't have to have all of this stuff? And he said it stopped him in his tracks. And he went on to say that since then, he feels like part of his job as he teaches more about minimalism and talks about it is to give people permission to get rid of their stuff too, so that they could experience the freedom that him and his family had been experiencing since that day. And it stopped me. Listening to him describe that, what I thought to myself is, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if getting rid of all of this stuff that we're not using, if that is gonna solve this problem that I'm experiencing right now. But I honestly don't feel like I have anything to lose, and I feel like I need to at least give it a chance. And so like the very next thing I did then was Google like minimalism, family minimalism, and there was not much out there on it. This was 7 years ago. There was very little on it then, but I was just like, I just remember like I found like an apartment tour of the Minimalist, and I'm just like looking at the pictures and zooming in like, how much clothing do they have? How much silverware and towels? Just trying to figure out how far could I go getting rid of stuff. And so over the course of the next year, I started without telling Tom, but I just started getting rid of everything that we weren't currently using or I didn't anticipate using in like the next 6 months. If we were not using it, if it wasn't a clear yes, then I was so desperate for things to get better that it was gone. And I've said this before, but like, we didn't have very expensive stuff. So most of it was all secondhand and came from garage sales or thrift stores. So that might have made it a little bit easier, but I think I was so motivated to find out if what Joshua Becker had said would be true, that I was kind of just at that point of, I don't care. I don't care if I accidentally get rid of something and then would need it again, because I had to find out if this was gonna work or not. And so that was 6-7 years ago. And what's been so cool is that I don't miss any of the stuff. I don't miss it. And everything that Joshua said, how much better our life would be, was true. It's so much more true than that. I often struggle to put words around it, that as I look back now, this physical stuff, it didn't lend itself to any happiness. It didn't cause me to be happier. It didn't make life more enjoyable. It was the opposite. That stuff was mocking me on a daily basis. It was saying, oh, Dawn, why can't you keep your kids' toys picked up? Why can't you keep the dishes done? Why can't you do this? Other people do this. Why can't you do it? And it made me feel very bad about myself, which should be the opposite of what stuff does, right? It's supposed to add value to our lives and make our lives easier, and it wasn't. And so when people ask the question like, well, have you gotten rid of anything you miss? I mean, I can think of 1 or 2 things, hardly anything of the thousands of items that we have gotten rid of. I hardly miss anything of it, and I feel like I have this clarity now of the stuff just isn't the point. It's not the point, and I don't want to waste my precious time and energy in these short years that we have with our kids. I don't want to spend it managing stuff. And so I talk a lot about looking at our stuff as inventory, that all of it is stuff that we have to manage personally, that we have to take care of, that we have to inventory in our head. It's always right here. You can put it in a closet, you can stick it under a bed, it's still there. It's still there for us to manage and to take care of, and to have this responsibility of taking care of. And so it truly is one of the best things that we've ever done, is to simplify our home down to the point that we call ourselves minimalists. And real quick, I want to let you know my definition of minimalist. There's actually no definition when it comes to a lifestyle. And so for us, it means only keeping stuff that we're using or appreciating. So really, if you went through our house right now, everything in it, I could tell you we are currently using or will use like this month or next month. But beyond that, we don't really keep stuff for long term. And even, you know, you'll sometimes hear it described as anything that's useful or beautiful. I even limit how much beautiful stuff I keep, like decor or stuff that sits out, again, just because it's more that I have to manage. And so I want to manage as little inventory as possible. That's my whole goal for this current season of life that we're in. And so that's how I look at it. But again, no, we don't get rid of anything that's useful to us or makes our life easier. We keep that stuff. I kept our microwave. I kept our washing machine. I kept the clothes that fit and that I like wearing. I just got rid of the rest of them, right? I kept the toys, the very few toys that the kids actually play with and that actually kept them engaged. We kept those, but we just got rid of all the extra stuff. And I think there's sometimes confusion that, oh, well, with minimalism, you're sacrificing or you're roughing it or you're giving up stuff that could make life easier. And it's not like that at all. It's truly picking out the best of the best and saying, yeah, this is worth my time. No, this isn't. I can definitely do without that. And what's been fun is to hear that I'm not the only one that experienced these benefits. In the beginning, like, I didn't even tell Tom, right? Because I'm like, I don't know. Like, and you kind of feel like you're the only one that can't keep it together, right? And so it's been fun to hear from so many others now that simplifying their house has made dramatic differences in their home too, and in their relationships, and in their confidence in themselves. That's my favorite part. So if you're just getting started, if you want to continue to learn more about this, we have a Start Here playlist that kind of goes through some of these main ideas of minimalism and then where to start. I think starting with your clothes or toys if you have kids in the house is such a great place to start. So you'll find a playlist link down below that will kind of walk you through this process of getting started. And it really is more fun if we do this together because it's not always easy, right? So I hope you subscribe so that you're notified when new videos are released. But otherwise, I hope you have a great day, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon.